The wife of God Shiva is Parvati. Their son is Vinaayaka. Ah, yes, now I understand. What do you understand? I understand. Like us, Shiva is husband, Parvati is wife, Vinayaka is son. No, this is not the reality. If we were to imagine even the God like the ordinary man with a family, sex passion, sleep, slumber, and all such other ill virtues, then it is not really the way to get at the divine entities, to get at the entity God. More so in Hindu philosophy by dharma of Veda. This type of approach is absurd. It is highly wrong. You should not imagine like that. Let's understand. Shiva, Parvati, Vinayaka, all the deities that we listen in Hindu philosophy, they are not physical members. They are characteristical, meaning that we should perceive them by our intelligence and gain them for our intelligence to rise up to our reality. Our reality is defined not only for the man, for all the creatures, for all the universe. The element of existence is the reality. We are all based by that. We should be biased by that. We are biased. But even the man, the supreme being, the man also, he conducts as if he is biased with mundane perspective. This is totally against himself. Now, the dharma, virtue, cautions him or even preaches him, saying, get at your element of existence, Sat. Sat is the element of existence. Get at it. And conduct with the element of existence as the base, as your bias. If you are not able to put it in practice in conducting in the affairs, try to activate it. Man tries to activate the affairs and tries to gain something from the affair. It is not going to fetch him. He is leaving it off. Even the memories he is forgetting. So there is not the order. Activate self. Self is the element of existence. Activate the element of existence to accomplishment, until accomplishment, so that man doesn't behave with any other cheap elements, mundane elements. This is said as Sat-Cit-Ananda. Sat is element of existence, Chit is activation, and bliss, Ananda is accomplishment. Shiva is that entity. That entity, Shiva, Samyatiti Shiva, suppresses all. You say, oh, I am afraid. Why should he suppress? He is very torching. No, this is our wrong identification and imagination about the Godhead, the Lord, God in any form, Shiva, Vishnu, or any other form. What does that element suppress? Suppresses that which is against our elevation. And what is that against our elevation is an Atma. Atma is consciousness of Sat-Cit-Ananda. Smriti, consciousness of Sat-Cit-Ananda is Atma, subjective entity. Anything against it or other than that is Anatma, non-self element. Non-self element which cannot be entertained in consciousness, which cannot even enter into the consciousness, which are always fleeting even in the mundane perspective. So let us not approach God in fear. Let us be fearless. Let us seek God for subjective elevation alone. That Shiva, now his mission is to suppress the non-self element, mischievous elements of the people and the beings, elevate them to their reality, Sat-Cit-Ananda, putting them on such a base and bias. This is the mission of Shiva. Right? Now, the assistance for Shiva in this mission to conduct through the activities or works of the people is Parvati. Parvati is not simple wife. Parvataraja Putri Parvati. That is the characteristical element of Parvati. Parvataraja. Parvata is English word is mountain. But it's not real mountain in a physical way. Because a mountain, Parvata, has 5 characteristical elements. The first of it is a wide base. Next is its altitude. Next is its slope to climb. The next is Shikara, peak, the pinpointed edge at the top. And the fifth is to climb up the slope, up the height, altitude, is toiling. However, mountains, Parvata, have trees over them. Trees give shadow, yield some fruits so as to solace the toil of the people climbing it. These are 5 elements, characteristics. Now look at, once we listen to them, we are sure, certain that they belong to us. Parvata is not external element, it is with us. Say we have a wide base. A wide base as Sat-Cit-Ananda, element of existence activated to accomplishment. This is our wide base. And this wide base has the best altitude. We say altitude in English, but Sanskrit language tells it as Aunatya, Unnati. Unnati is Utnatam. Ut is the element of conduct where we can gain it totally and sustain it in our awareness. Conduct, gain, and awareness. This is Ut Lakshana. And Nati is to attain it. That is to attain a conduct wherein we can attain it and sustain it in awareness. That is Unnati, that is the altitude. Altitude for this white base as the element of existence is consciousness of Sat-Cit-Ananda, consciousness of Yada in English. Yada is existence, activation, revelation, dwelling, discrimination, awareness, and accomplishment. These 7 characteristics form Sat-Cit-Ananda. Consciousness of it is Sat-Cit-Ananda Smriti, it is said. Now, this altitude of Sat-Cit-Ananda, consciousness of Yada, has a slope to climb. The slope is a definite discrimination. By discrimination, man can climb up. Once he climbs, he will see a peak. Over a peak, nothing can stand. In temples, we have Gopura, globe-like formation, which has a peak at the top. On the peak, not even a bird can sit. This is a very good characteristic for us. Once a man climbs up his altitude of the consciousness of Yada, nothing can override him. He is the peak. Above the peak, there is only the space. Space is English word, Akasha is Sanskrit word. There are 25 definitions of non-physical characteristics for space. The one of it is Akasha. Asmato kasyate iti Akasha. That which reveals in consciousness is Akasha. What can reveal in the consciousness? Whatever is there, that can reveal. Sat-Cit-Ananda, Yada, that is resting in the consciousness, only that reveals. Only that is above this peak for the altitude of consciousness of Yada. For the peak of the consciousness of Yada, white base, or that is only consciousness of Yada, revelation of Yada. Only that is revelation of Yada. This is highly illustrative, highly educative for the man to elevate himself. Now, this is Parvata. Parvata Raja. Raja is a common understanding is a king. There is no king for mountains. This is our expression. But Raja is not meaning to say king. Rajrudipto, revelation. These 5 characteristics of Parvata, mountain, should reveal to the man. Once it reveals to him, then he has an opportunity to be saved by it. This is Putri. Punnamno narakatrayate iti Putri. Putri doesn't mean daughter. Even if mountains should have daughters, then we had it. This is not the way of expression. Language Samskrita is highly sophisticated to elevate the people by culture, a real culture. So, Parvata Raja, revelation of the 5 characteristics of mountain, saves him from the misconcepts. Pumnamno narakat, from the hell of misconcepts, it saves. So it is Parvata Raja Putri Parvati. And this virtue of Parvati can be of assistance for the mission of Shiva in subsiding the non-self elements of the beings and put them on to their elevation. This is the real preaching of saying Shiva Parvati. And their son is Vinaayaka. Son is a popular word in English. In Sanskrit it is Putra. Putra is again Pumnamno Narakatrayate iti Putraha. In this virtue, to practice the virtue of Shiva, to practice the virtue of Shiva and practice the virtue of Parvati, for the man to be elevated, man toils, always faces troubles because of his attitude. So to get over, to be protected against them is Putra, that is Vinaayaka. Vinayaka is not simple elephant-faced god. We should not simply imagine unusual, unintellectual ideas. Now, Purana, a story way of expressing for the common man, now narrates like a story an incident. Once Parvati, in the idea of going for taking bath, it wanted somebody to be a god so that no one enters. So what did this Parvati do is, it made a doll by the floor which is applied for up on the body when taking bath. With that floor, it made out a doll and gave it its life of Parvati. And the doll became a boy, and it asked the boy to be a god there. At the time Shiva comes, he stops him, he obstructs him from going inside. So Shiva, by his Trisula, takes out the head of the boy. Parvati weeps against this incident. This is the story in a physical form of representation. Now let us understand it. Taking bath is a popular word in English. In Sanskrit, it is not simple taking bath of a physical body of a man or a man. It is Shna Sauche, to purify. Parvati, characteristic of Parvati is to be purified. We have said the characteristic of Parvati is the 5 characteristics of the mountain being revealed to and being protected by that is the characteristic of Parvati. And this characteristic must be purified before it can go for assistance to the mission of Shiva. So that is the idea there. Once it is trying to purify itself, no other thought should come for consideration, should be in hindrance for it. So it should be protected from hindrances. So for such protection, it made out from itself, from a material which it has to use for its own bath, for its own purification, made out a doll. Let us understand. People have all mischievous ideas and mischievous conduct in the mundane perspective, which stand as obstacles for their elevation. This is the powder, churna, powdered conduct for them. So this characteristic Parvati, from that powder, which can be applied to purify. Let us understand. Man makes mistake, and this mistake is the stepping stone for success. He gets educated by his own mistakes. His formula is hit and miss. Hit and miss. He hits, he misses. And then makes mistakes and gets educated. This is that floor, churna, by which this characteristic Parvati made a doll, makes the man a doll, a puppet, and gives the puppet its life, the life of the characteristic of Parvati, the life of the five characteristics of mountain getting revealed and getting protected by that life it gives, and that is achieved by the man in a simple formula of discrimination. So, in a nutshell, in one word, that doll or the boy which turned from the doll by the life given by Parvati, that doll, that boy is a personification of discrimination for the man. But that boy is only a personification for discrimination, but he does not know the aim of it. Unless the aim is known, this discrimination cannot be rightly applied in the conduct. So that mistake can occur. Discrimination is the life given by Parvati, but it has not given the aim, that life to aim at the mission of Shiva. It has not been given. So, ignorant of that aim, the boy objects Shiva to enter inside. Inside what? Inside wherein the characteristic Parvati purifies itself. To enter that entity, boy obstructs. So Shiva cuts off the head of the boy. Let's understand. Head is English word. Siraha is the word of the language Sanskrita. Shriyati swange iti siraha. Now look at the human body. All the activities of the body have control at the brain, and the brain has its own control in itself. It has control of the total body and its control within itself. This is Siraha. That is trying to control all externals within itself and control itself within itself. This is Siraha. This conduct is Siraha. Now the boy has this conduct, but limited to discrimination. This is not sufficient. So the aim of them is Shiva. That Shiva, in the aim of giving the boy that aim, that Siraha, that conduct, that controlled conduct, against this limited conduct, Siraha head, he cuts off the head of this limited conduct of discrimination. In the usual way, Parvati weeps at it. Now Shiva says, I shall get a right head and fit onto him. He sends his subjects to go in search of a head which is sleeping in the direction north. This is a mundane way of expression. Search for a head which is sleeping in the with the head in the north direction. North direction. North is again English word. The word of Sanskrita is Uttara. Uttaratiti. Uttara. Ut is Atasatatyamani. Everlasting conduct, everlasting gain, and everlasting awareness. This is Ut. Tena Tarati. By such conduct, gain, and awareness, one should cross over the obstacles to reach to the aim, Lord Shiva. This is Uttara. And again, direction is English word. Samskrita word of Samskrita is Disha. Disha Atisarjani. It is an opportunity. Opportunity is the direction. So they had Siraha. Siraha is conducting within itself, all in its control, conducting itself within itself. That Siraha should be directed, should have the opportunity in Uttara, opportunity for eternal conduct, eternal gain, and eternal awareness. So, Siraha, such Siraha must be brought. People have brought. And that Siraha in the story belongs to Gaja, an elephant. Elephant is the word of English. Gaja is word of Samskrita. Gaja is Gamlagatau Jani Pradurbhave. That which has a conduct beyond the conduct's eternal conduct said to sustain and maintain the eternal conduct, gain, and awareness by revelation. That is, eternal conduct, gain, and awareness can be achieved not simply by magic, but it is by revelation. By revelation, conduct and gain and keep in awareness. That is Gaja. That characteristical head of Gaja elephant has been brought and attached to this boy whose head has been cut off. So now he is given the life of the aim for the discriminating conduct, attainment, awareness in all the affairs in the life of the beings, especially the man. Now this is Vinaayaka. He is not just a son of Shiva and Parvati. Neither Shiva nor Parvati nor Vinaayaka are man-made, are human form. They are characteristics for the man to absorb by intelligence in his consciousness of Yada, to elevate himself to the consciousness of Yada and be relieved of all the troubles of the mundane life. Alas, with all this background of a pious, divine preaching, divine reality for the man to conduct, he does puja, worship. Pujayam. Puja, worship is honoring. Honoring whom? Not the Lord external, neither God external, nor Shiva, nor Parvati, nor Vinaayaka external. He should honor himself. Honor himself so that he, with his honor, sense of honor, he will honor Vinaayaka, Parvati, Shiva, and the total truth which they exhibit for him to rise to his eternal elevations. That is worship. That is possible first by self honor. You understand? Self elevation is by self honor. Lo, people don't follow this. Their worship is totally against for their elevation. More so, more yielding, pushing them to their downfalls. They may not be elevated, all right, but they should not be pushed down to downtrodden. That is a negative approach. People's worship is in the negative approach. They bring a doll from the market, no purification for it. Just directly they keep it on a dais for worship. Neither the man is purified. He feels stylish by a mustache, a crop cutting, and a jersey jeans pant, a t-shirt, and stylish way of movement, stylish pomp and show. In the so-called Hindu religious way of approach, what he does is, for the jersey jeans pant, for the t-shirt, applies little turmeric, keeps at the doll. He hopes that he gives it to Vinaayaka for him to wear, to put off his dhoti and wear his jersey jeans pant and t-shirt. Is that his aim? He puts it there. He feels that, and he can take it as prasadam of Vinaayaka, and once he wears them, he is elevated. If a man is so cheap to be to think of elevation by just wearing a jersey jeans pant and a t-shirt, he is not fit to be a man. He is out of gears to be a man. He is drowning in the downtrodden depths. More so, a boy studying, he is prompted to say that he should keep a book in which he is weak to study in his studies. So he selects mathematics is very difficult for him. So he keeps a mathematics book there with applying little turmeric, so that the mathematics book is made pious, and that being getting pious, if he takes it, he can be sharp in mathematics. He hopes. Okay, but what happens is, he keeps the book there until the idol is kept there for a few days, say 3 or 5 days or 9 days. After the idol is taken out for immersion in water, then he takes the book. Afterwards, whether he gains mathematics or not, he is free from mathematics, studying mathematics for all these 9 days. That is a boon for him. His boon is not to gain mathematics. These are all cheap methods of worship, cheap methods of trying to gain some boons from the deities. Right. People more in their sense of devotion. Again, devotion is bhakti. In Sanskrit, bhaja sevaya, a service is devotion. Service to what? Whom can a man serve? He cannot serve anybody without serving himself. Say, mundane wife serves the husband by cooking food, serves a food. Here, let us understand who is served better. The husband is served food. He eats it within 3 hours. He has a wanting again for food. The served food has not helped him eternally. And the food going inside, for the next day, it is put out in the defecation. And whatever enters into the blood as food is burnt off by the working of the man. So no food. The food served is not a served food for the husband, but the sense with which the wife serves. That sense of food, serving, that sense of serving is a food for her, an eternal food. It is not put out by defecation. It is not burnt out by activities. It is eternal with her. That is devotion. That sense of devotion man should show to all the devotees in all the worships. But man does not know it. He fails to do it. On the contrary, he feels that his sense of devotion is overflowing. So what he does is, in the external, on the road, he builds a dais, erects a deity of Vinaayaka, a statue of Vinaayaka. In the story, Vinaayaka is built by the floor which Parvati used. So soft. But man now builds it by plaster of Paris. See our material of preparing God for us. Material should be knowledge. Even physically, it is not mild. It is a hard plastic plaster of Paris. And it's a boy made with a sense. Now, what we are doing is, from 1 foot, it is growing up to 90 feet. The more the height, the more devotion for us. This is man's unintellectual ideas, unconcerned of his elevation. And at that site, outside, man plays rock and roll dance, records, sexual records from cinemas, makes merry out of that, jumps out of it. He is not obedient to wear a suitable, obedient dress as dhoti. He is in his jersey jeans pant and t-shirt with a mustache, crop on the head, and stylish way of sitting on a chair. A worshipper, pujari they call, the priest. The priest comes to perform puja, worship. He does it. What concern he has got when the people who are there have no concern of it, no honor for puja? What can a priest have it? He does it for his sense, goes away, takes his money and goes away. Puja is not done. Puja is not done by mantra, not done by purity of the material collected. The material collected is from the roads on the road where people pass urine and all that. Misused on their misused roads, it is spread, and the flowers, the leaves are sold. He purchases. He doesn't clean them. The event is totally unpious, but he throws it on the idol and says that he has performed puja, worship. This is ignorant base for the man. Now, he doesn't perform the puja. He is in merry listening to cinema songs, talking to his coordinates with him, his people, gathered people, making cheap jokes, laughing at it, jumping at it. There's no effort of saying self honor, devotion to talk about a deity. But still, people think of they subscribe money for it because they can enjoy merry-going for some 9 days. It's only for that perspective people do this venture, not to really satisfy the deity or satisfy his consciousness. More so when they try to take out the idol in procession to merge it into water. People drink liquor, jump, they think it is a dance. Shiva dance is very pious, characteristical for every people to sense. But the dance which people jump in the procession is shush. This is highest order of ignorance of the people against their elevation. Let them save their ignorance, all right, but it should not be against their elevation. Where knowledge is dangerous, ignorance is bliss. Where mundane knowledge is dangerous, ignorance of it is a bliss. Let that ignorance be sustained, which can elevate people in their real elevation. Right? They take it to a pond or a big source of water, and while the idol is high enough, it is very heavy. Manually, it cannot be pushed out and left slowly in the water. Immersing it in water is a slow process, a mild process, an obedient process, a humble process. And now, this being very high, very heavy, what the people do is they just push it. Mercilessly, they push it. Free from devotion, they just push it. And the government also is cautious because at such places where this idol is merged, people come, and in their ignorant way of merry-going, some people can jump into the water and can die. So the government makes some protection of some iron bars so that people are protected. And when they push the idol, it hits against the bars, becomes broken, and the broken torments are pushed out into the water. This is a demoniac way of performing a pious activity. Mind you, children, mind you, elders, mind you, the society, mind you, the rulers. Let man be relieved of this torturing mundane projection, torturing mundane perspective. Let the children, let the youth be protected. They are immortals. They are immortals. Try to educate them on their elevation and try to give them education to sustain it in their own benefit, in their own need for peaceful life. Okay. Literature is very rich in Veda. It is projected. SriiKrshnanaanda Matha alone has more than 135 publications, all in this type of expressing the realities. And the origin for this is Veda. Veda. Let us learn it rightly. Let us not distort them in the religious way of approach. And let not be the man be religious based. Let him be based by reality. Reality for him. Okay? Let us not repeat again this ill-cultured way of worship. You agree, isn't it? Let us meet again